Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for Senior Health Medicare webinar session. Today we have Cameron and Allie Giardini. They are brother and sister. They're going to be talking about the types of doctors that accept Medicare. So without further ado, we will let them take it away.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today for another webinar. I'm Cameron, and like Courtney said, I'm Allie's older brother, so I'm the reason she got into the Medicare business. So if at any point she gives you some help going forward, just thank me. No problem. It's the least I can do.
And I am his younger sister, Allie. Like you said, he did get me into this business, actually with our mom as well. When I graduated college, he just kind of opened the door for me coming into Senior Health Medicare. So we work in the same office 9 to 5, don't ever get away from each other. It's pretty cool.
Nope.
Go ahead.
All right, so today we're really looking at, do doctors have to accept Medicare? And if they do, what are the different types of doctors that accept Medicare? And the first main question, obviously, is do they have to accept it? And the answer is no, they do not. It is in their best interest to accept Medicare. It is a large portion of the population that is on Medicare. Anyone 65 plus, anyone on disability under 65. So it's a large market that they'd be missing out on if they don't want to accept Medicare. But there are some out there, holistic doctors, chiropractors, that do not accept it. So just know that not every doctor is going to take your red, white, and blue Medicare card, but it's not something you generally need to worry about.
And when it comes to looking at doctors, when you have a Medicare Advantage plan versus a supplement, it is important to note what plan you're on and what doctors will take your plan. There are doctors that will accept Medicare as well as your individual plan, but there are also those doctors that will accept Medicare but not your individual plan. For the ones that do accept your individual plan, that's the key thing to look at for you if you're on an Advantage plan. Don't look at if they take Medicare or not. Look at if they take your individual plan or not. Those will be your in-network doctors. When it comes to the doctors that don't accept your individual plan, you can still go to those doctors, but you will be paying out-of-network costs, which could be a little bit more than you're used to paying, could be a lot more. It depends on the plan that you're on.
Yeah, and for those doctors, it's kind of similar to what you're used to under 65. It's a lot like your employer coverage or group coverage. It's your HMOs, your PPOs, where you have to go to the doctor and say, do you take Blue Cross? Do you take Priority Health? Companies like that, and then they'll either say yes or no, which is a little bit different than the supplements, and Allie's going to get into that.
Yeah, so when you have a supplement, it is different. The main question you need to ask when you're on a supplement is, do you take Medicare? There are 3 types of doctors that work with Medicare. There are participators, there are non-participators, and there are opt-out doctors. I'll briefly go over the participators. Those are doctors who accept what Medicare offers to them. They accept Medicare's patients, and when you have a procedure done, if the doctor office says this procedure is $10,000, Medicare can turn around and say, well, we looked at the diagnostics for these procedures and we think it's worth $9,000. The doctor will turn around and say, okay, it's $9,000, and that's it. They take what Medicare assigns to them. And just be aware this isn't always how it is for Advantage plans, like we mentioned earlier. That's why it's important to really focus on the group or the plan you're on, not whether or not the doctor accepts Medicare.
Yeah, and like Allie said, just because a doctor does take Medicare does not mean they have to take your Advantage plan. So they can easily take they can take Medicare, but they can say, no, we're not going to take company X, company Y. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever's in their network. Whereas supplements, if they take Medicare, they will take your supplement. So that's going to be over 95% of doctors nationwide will take your supplement. And then Allie just talked about participators when it comes to Medicare. The other type of doctors, a much smaller portion, I will say it's only about 3 to 4% of doctors, are non-participators. So like it says here, contrary to their name, they do accept Medicare. So just because they don't participate with Medicare's assignment doesn't mean they're not going to take your Medicare and your Medicare supplement. However, they just don't always accept what Medicare is going to offer for their DRG. And what that means is, how Allie said, they might bill Medicare $10,000. Medicare will then say it is $9,000. They don't want to accept that $9,000. They think that it's worth more. So what they then do is they take about 95%, and I'm sorry this is going to get kind of technical, so just bear with me, but for that $9,000, they're going to take 95% of the Medicare approved charge. So they're going to take a little bit less upfront. Then what they can do is they can bill you excess charges. What excess charges are is they can go back to that $9,000 and charge you up to 15% of that charge, because that is what's known as the Medicare approved amount. So then they can then bill you an additional few $100s to an extra $1,000. Whatever that 15% is, they can pass that along to you. So like it says right here, you who pays the excess charges, it's you. However, there are plans that we talked about before, Plan G, Plan F, and some of the more popular Medicare supplement plans. They will cover Part B excess charges. So it's very important to look at if that's one of your concerns. Just say, will my plan help me cover this? And chances are most of the popular plans will help you cover excess charges, but it's just something really important to ask us if you give us a call, that we'll be able to help you find the right plan that will do that. So, for example, Plan G is going to cover you no matter if you go to Participators or Non-Participators. So that's one really convenient aspect of it. And lastly, there's the Optout Doctors. We don't really hit on them too much just because they're not going to accept your supplement, and they're most likely not going to accept your Advantage plan. So these doctors completely opt out of Medicare. They don't accept Medicare patients. Usually they don't even accept health insurance. These are people like holistic doctors, homeopathic doctors, chiropractors, like I mentioned. They're just not going to accept Medicare. They're a very small percentage of all doctors. So if you run into them, just know that they're not going to take your supplement, they're not going to take your red, white, and blue card, but they're not going to be out there too often, so it's not too big of a deal. And Allie wanted to think about how sometimes excess charges don't apply, so you can always...
Yeah, certain states around the country do ban excess charges altogether. It's important, just give us a call if you're wondering if you are in one of those states. And if you have any questions regarding any of this, excess charges, participating doctors, non-participating doctors, just give us a call. We can explain it in more detail, or however we need to help you out. And there is ways to ask your doctor, do you participate, do you not participate? So we can help you with all of these questions, tell you what you need to ask your doctors. We can get on a three-way call if we have to, so don't hesitate to call.
Always ways to figure it out. But other than that, thanks for tuning in to this webinar.
Were there any questions?
We had one question come in. Yeah. If they just want to know a little more about the DRGs, can you guys explain a little further on what the diagnosis-related groups mean to them?
Yeah, the diagnosis-related groups are basically a set of procedures and what their costs are. So you might have a procedure such as a knee replacement, and that is going to cost a certain amount under Medicare. That might be a $4,000 procedure, and that is what the doctor knows Medicare is going to pay them for the procedure. So doctors look at that when they're factoring, do I want to charge excess or not? And it's really tough to look at all of them, but if you want, we can always go through that and maybe even talk to your doctor. They might know a little bit more about what the DRG is for a procedure. So it's a great question, though.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's all we have. Thank you for tuning in today, and you can find out more information from the rest of our webinars. We have a lot of different topics to select from. Visit our website at www.seniorhealthmedicare.com, and we'll look forward to sharing more information with you soon. Have a great day.